Alrighty guys, back in the shop today. I actually been in the shop a lot. Did an evap on a Traverse. Did some work on a Jeep Grand Cherokee. What did I do before the Traverse? Don't remember. I did something before the Traverse. But I did a Jersey case, a couple other things. Didn't really film much. I was kind of in a rush to get some of the stuff knocked out. Customers are waiting, and it is what it is. Got a little bit of time to do my projects while I wait for some customers to come pick up some things and drop some other things off. So what we're going to work on is a project I started about, I'm going to say about a year ago now. This right here. Talk about it a little bit. I'll turn the camera around and show you what it is, what I was shooting for and what it turned into, and then show you the plans for the new one. So let me turn this camera around. Alrighty, this is kind of what we're looking at here. So this was a temporary build as like a test bench to see if this would work. These little amplifiers, you can get them off Amazon. The specs are here upside down, so you can kind of see what they are if you want to pause the screen. But I run it off of like a Milwaukee M18 battery. It runs for 8+ hours. Half volume, which is really still pretty loud. It'll run for 15 hours. Runs for a long time off of a 6.0 M18 battery. I'm going to try to put affiliate links for all of this. Like this was bought off Amazon. These were bought off Amazon. There's another one back here that I was testing that I mounted. It's a smaller one that I bought off Amazon. These, which we'll talk about in a little bit, were bought off Amazon. So I'm not sure how to, but I'll try to put like affiliate links or whatever, so you guys don't have to go search for this stuff. You can just click on it and find it if you want to build one for yourself. So now I'm going to rebuild this. Like I said, this was all temporary. This was all just scrap material. That's why you'll see like random cuts in it. It was just all random material that was to see if it would actually work. And it does. It works really well. It's very loud. Got good bass, but not enough bass, which is where those come in, which we'll talk about in a second. These are passive radiators that are to try to give me a little bit more bass. I've already kind of messed around with one. There's one right there. The reason the hole's shaped like that is because it was originally a port. I bought some like little like makeshift ports that I put in there. Didn't really like the way they sounded, so I decided to put a passive radiator in there, not knowing anything about passive radiators. That one was way too small and also messed it up. It overflexed or whatever. So that's where these come in. I decided to actually do some research into passive radiators and found out that you kind of need to double the circumference of the sub and passive radiator. So if you have an 8-inch sub, you want like roughly 16 inches of passive radiator, give or take, to be beneficial. It's not mandatory, but it's just kind of like a rule of thumb, if you will. So I picked up a couple of these Dayton Audio passive radiators. So as you can see, it's just basically a fake sub, or sub without the magnet or voice coil. So these are kind of the plans of the new one. Going to go same dimensions as this box currently, which is 8 inches deep, 25.5 inches tall, and 11.5 inches wide. You kind of see here the layout, so it's going to be the same with 6 5x7, 8-inch sub 5x7. The amp will be mounted inside, so there's going to be like a false wall back here and then back here. The amp will be mounted inside with the buttons facing up. You really don't touch it after you set it. You turn it up and down off your phone or whatever device you're Bluetoothing to it. But in case I do need to get to it, I'm going to put a magnetic or like a removable panel that would be magnetic that will like mount to the top or whatever, the side, top, whatever you want to call that. The battery will go here. So if you see on the bottom, there's these cutouts. There's going to be one on each side, so it looks, you know, like a functional piece or like a design. But that's where the battery will snap into, like you'll just snap the battery down into it. And so it makes these two boxes equal. And then the sub box, of course, a little bit bigger because on each side, here and over here, that's where the passive radiators are going to go. You can also see that each box is individual. I don't recommend putting a sub with two components because the sub might overflex the components and break those. So these are kind of my board length or my board cuts so far. So I'm going to get cutting some material. I got a sheet of 1/2 inch MDF that I'm going to make it out of. I'm going to try something a little different on the front board. We'll get to that later. But yep, that's where we're at right now. We'll see what happens. Let's get started. Okay, so this is where we're at currently. This is the sideboards, both of them. You can see that one's still not marked up. This one's marked up to give me kind of what I like to call storyboard, if you will. So this is the cutout for the passive radiator. Now this is to the outer edge of it. So the cutout will actually be probably a 1/2 inch-ish inwards of this line. That's where the actual cutout will be. The reason I marked the outer one is because I'm going to recess this speaker in to the side a little bit, just so it's flush. The lip on the, speaker, on the passive radiator is only, you know, a little bit less than 1/8 of an inch, so I won't have to go down too deep. It's a little bit more than a 1/16. So I'll probably just go down a 1/16 of an inch to keep material here, but to recess that. All these lines you see all serve a purpose, as mental as it looks. This will be the bottom, so that's the kick out. The little, let me get my plans. That's this piece here. That will be on both sides, so that's where the battery will slide into on each side. Well, it will be on both sides just so it looks aesthetically pleasing, but only one side is where the battery will slide into. So this will be the end of this side of the box, and then it'll go up, and then this will be the end of the back. This board will remain to go all the way, well, it'll go here, and then it'll go here. There will not be a board here. This will be open on this part for the sub, to give the sub the most amount of airspace possible. So basically, in a nutshell, this is like a side profile of the box. So it'll kind of look like this if the box was, you know, facing down. And then you'll see this front board here, side, back board that will go to here, and then it'll pick back up and go over here. And then there'll be another backboard that goes right here that will enclose the sub. And also this little open section here is where the amp's going to go inside of it. So I have all the divider boards. So there's 4 here. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Of course, this one will have to get cut down because it's shorter. So they're not cut down yet. They're just, you know, in the maximum size. This is the front board, where this board here. So see, I kind of started the storyboard on this one as well. So this will be a board, this will be a board, you know, of course, in behind here. The 8-inch sub will go here, the 6.5 will go here. So I found center of those boards. I will find center this way as well. This is 11.5, so I'll go to 5 3/4. That would be my center point, and I'll mark my center on all of them so I have a spot for my cutout. Because I use a router to do my sub and speaker cutouts. It's a little harder to do the router on an oval speaker, so like a 6x9, or a square speaker like an L7, for obvious reasons. So I will probably do those with a jigsaw, minus the beauty board. which we'll talk about later. That one will probably be done by hand to make it look as clean as possible. But yeah, so that's where I'm at right now. Okay, just a little tip since I'm doing it. So here's one cut out. As you can tell, here's the Rockford Fosgate Punch P1683. These are the ones I'm using. Same ones that are in the current display or test model. I just have a couple sets of them, so instead of taking that apart, I'm just went and grabbed one off the shelf. As you can see, fits in there perfectly. No play, movement, no rock side to side. So now that I got one done, I need to duplicate it over here. You see this is laid out with the storylines now, so that's dead center of this one. You can see there's dead center of that one, and then the same thing was over here for dead center of this one. So what I did was took a piece of cardboard, stuck it up underneath there, and traced exactly that hole. Cut it out, lined it up in here where it goes, and here you see it's a nice snug fit because it was cut out with a razor blade. And then I marked in reference to that T. So now when I pop this out and I bring it over to this side, as long as all of my lines are met up, once I get it lined up, there we go. Then when I trace this, it gives me the exact cutout that will match this one in the exact same location as that one, so that one won't be lower or higher than the other, because this line right here ventures all the way across the same exact measurement, and then this line right here, this measurement here is exactly the same as this measurement. So just a little tip. Alrighty, let's talk about hole cutting real quick. As you can see, both the 6x9, 5x7 holes, whatever you want to call them, are cut out, matching each other perfectly because of the method I showed. So this is what I used to cut holes with. This is a palm router, a piece of 1/4-inch Lexan. It is cracked. I just did that. I hit the router on accident when I was moving stuff, and it, put this in a bind and cracked it. I'll just glue that back together. But so it's just the palm router. Put this out of here for a second. I took off the stock plate and I bolt on this piece, so I countersunk the screw holes, and then it gives you, I mark my holes for how big I need my circle to be. So like these ones out here, I think were for like almost a 4-foot table or something like that. So even though this isn't 4 foot, math makes it about 4 foot. As you can see, the hole I'm cutting out right now is for an 8-inch speaker, so 7 1/4 hole. That's what that says right there, 7 1/4. I marked it just for the point of this video because I've cut in hundreds of holes with this setup, so I already know what hole I need to go in, for my speaker. But just for the video purposes, I marked 7 1/4 right there. When you're cutting out these holes, you don't want to cut out the entire thing in one pass. You want to make several, 1/8-inch passes to get a clean hole cut out. Also, you don't want to cut the entire thing. You want to leave a tab. As you can see here, there's a tab left there. If you were to cut this whole thing, it would, once you got to that final cut, it would literally bounce around there and destroy your router bit. And good router bits are expensive. So like this is a spiral cut bit. It's a $40 bit to fuck up on some MDF. Mess up on some MDF. So as you can see, that most of these bases have a line. So what I do is I just mark a line with that line, and then whenever I spin it all the way around, pass by pass, about 1/8 inch at a time, it'll line up with this side. So that now I know that as long as I keep going back and forth, I'll have a tab here. I'll cut that tab off with a hacksaw or a handsaw. I use a hacksaw or a jigsaw, but we'll use whatever you got. And that'll give me my perfect circle cutout for a speaker. So now, as you can see, it's cut out. Here's the piece. It's got that little tab on it that I cut off. Kind of went a little deep with the jigsaw there, so messed up my perfect hole, but you won't see it anyway. Here's the speaker. I pulled it out of the test box. It's got all the screws magnetic to it. So there's the part number, W8K5S4, 800 watt peak, which it's not, it's like a 200 watt RMS. Just a little Rockville 8. But as long as I did my measurements right, that will sit right in there, which, you know, I know it will. But there you go. That's in there. These holes, oh, what I wanted to talk about before I forget is the center hole for the jig to do circles. I used a drill bit. So what I did was, let's grab one of these drill bits real quick. I took 2 drill bits of the same size, and I used one to drill the holes in here and in that in the piece, and this piece right here. And then I used the other drill bit. I cut the shank off of it, and that's the pin that I stick in the wood that also sticks in here because it's the same exact size, so it's a perfect fit. So that's how I use or do a centering pin for that. Put that back so I don't lose it. But yeah, so that's how you cut the hole. So now that my front board is done and my side pieces and interior pieces are done, these are my sides. So I'm probably going to temporarily tape these together so I can cut this out, because I'll probably do that. I might do one at a time so I can use the router. I'll take like pieces of scrap like this and mark out where this is and use a flush trim bit with a router to trace that. I might do that. You give me a cleaner cutout, more consistent to match to the other one. Then I also have to cut out the holes on these, the circle holes. I just remembered that. I just put up all that stuff, but I'll pull it back out. So you already even bolted the plate back on. I need to cut out the circle holes for the passive radiators. So I need to get that back out. So then I can put together the top, the sides, and the bottom, or the back, that piece. So I can start laying out the inside boards and making sure that all my measurements there are good. That's where we're at. Okay, a little update. This is just in mock-up still. So this is glued to this, and the bottom is glued to the side, top and bottom. The rest of this is just in here for mock-up right now. Right? This one might be installed. Yeah. So it's the side, the top, the bottom, and the back is installed. So these are just in here chilling for now, to kind of figure out where these inside boards, this is just a scrap cutoff piece. It's not wide enough for this because this goes here and this will go about there, so you can see it's not wide enough. So a board like this though will go in here for the amp, that'll sit in here, and then there'll be a magnetic panel on this top piece. And then another one will sit here. You can see that's where the cutout is for where the battery will slot. You can see it on both sides. So I can just show you this sideboard right here. This will sit on there like this. The reason for this overhang you see is it won't be that, I do want an overhang on the front, but it won't be this much. Another board is going to go on the front of this, a 1/4 inch board, to sink down the speakers a little bit, but also for the design, the look I'm going for. You can see the top board, the spots cut out for the passive radiator, and it's recessed, like I said, a little bit more than a 1/16 of an inch. I did that with the same jig I did for the hole cutout. I just went out to my final and then went down my depth, went around, then came in and then did my cutout, and then just cleaned up the between there with a chisel. MDF's really easy to work with. Here's that other cutout piece that was done with the router. See, it lines up with that one. So the board will be here, and then the battery will slot on one side. The only reason it's on both sides is to make it look aesthetically pleasing. But I mean, yeah, so that's where we're at right now. Update time, which for you guys wasn't very long. Man, my bench is a mess. For me, it's been a little bit. It's dark outside now, which doesn't mean a whole lot because it's starting to get darker earlier. But this is where we're at for now. Let me see. I don't remember exactly where the last video was, but the amp's in there. You can see it's mounted. It's not going anywhere. There's a seal piece right here because this piece I wanted to make removable. So you can see there's 3 screws each side, flathead style, like a flat bottom, not like acorn style. And there's still, you know, the seal that when this part goes on, which will stay on forever, it'll smash that seal and seal it, but this piece right here will still be removable in case the amp goes bad or you want to replace it or whatever. Then you just take out this speaker, reach up in here with that size thing. You probably have to do it by hand, but you know, it is what it is. And then you could unscrew it. Those screws are only, I think, 1 1/4 inch screws. So yeah. Then let me see, it's also sealed on against this piece here, so you can't really see it because they're smashed, but the same foam tape stuff is on this side, so when this pushes against it, it creates a seal there. So it should be sealed there with no leaks because a magnet will get drilled out and glued here and drilled out and glued here, and then you can see where the magnet will go on the other piece because this whole section right here will get cut out, and then that will be the piece that's removable, not this exact piece. I'll have to make a piece because when I cut this out with the router, it won't be savable, but I'm just gonna cut it out with the router so it's as perfect as possible, so that piece will fit in there nice and perfect and snap into place and magnet and hopefully stay. You can see the wires ran from the amp, so this board is in, these pieces are in, this piece is in. The front piece is not, it's just chilling right now, but all the wires are ran. You got 3 wires, drew a little arrow there, so if I ever have to remove that, I know which way it goes. So one speaker comes through in the front side, like in between here. I routed out a piece. Next speaker, same thing, next speaker, and then power and ground because the battery is going to go against this. You can kind of see that piece now. And then it's probably going to go on the same side. I'm probably going to keep the panel and this on the top side if it was laying this way. But there will be feet on this side and on this part here. These little like rubber feet. So it'll be able to listen to like this or stood up. Both ways, depending on, you know, where it's at or how you want to listen to it. But yep, that's where we're at now. All righty then. Here's where we are. Front piece is on now. So you can see it looks a little bit different. It's got some veneered 1/4 inch birch on it. I flush mounted the center, but not the outers, just because I tried. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I tried. May got a little frustrated and snapped it in half. Don't know where it even went. I thought it was in this trash can, but maybe not. I don't know where it went. But I did try. I put the speaker in here and then outlined the shape of, let me grab one real quick. It's just spare. You can see it's got like a weird shape thing. So I put them in there, outline this, and then try to router it out of the thin stuff. It just wouldn't work. I'm sure it could be done, but doing it by freehand, I ain't gonna lie. Beyond my skill of freehanding router work. Just couldn't make it happen. But countersinking the sub, which has a bigger lip, if you can't tell. It's got quite a bigger lip there. Versus those, they might be around the same level then, and maybe it'll look okay. We'll find out. But all the wires ran, the front board's on, the power is hooked up, so there's the thing. We can actually snap that in and make sure the amp comes on. Wherever I put the battery, there it is. So snap this on. Yep, you can see the little light. Amp comes on. Of course, it can't power anything right now because there's nothing to power. But all I gotta do now is put the top board on and seal it. As you can tell, just like my speaker boxes, all of the edges are sealed, minus this one, of course, because it's got to be able to come out. But you can see in here too, all of the edges sealed. just like it was a big box. All right, there it is, all assembled. So you can see the battery's back there. You can locate it from this piece right here. So you can get in there and unplug it. Passive radiator, amplifier. I don't want to push this all the way in because I don't have a way to get it out yet, but as you can see, it fits cleanly. There'll be an even gap all the way around. Just like I said, I don't want it to fall in there because then I'll never get it out. Speaker. Another passive radiator. You can see there's feet on this side and there's feet on that side. So you can lay it on back there or flip it over on its side. Waiting on the handle to come in. I got a leather handle for up here. And then now that I've tested it and it works, everything sounds really, really good and crisp, clean, loud, good bass. Then I'm going to wait for the handle to come in and the finish that I want to do to it, waiting on that to come in. And then I will sand it, finish it, and it will be done in the next clip. It'll be a couple days for me because I'm still waiting on stuff, but it won't be long for you guys. It'll be seconds. That's it. Pretty happy with it. Looks good. As you can see, everything is now sanded and all the edges are rounded off. All of the little nail holes are filled in with a slurry, which I just use wood glue and sawdust out of the sander, and just fill in any of the little nail holes with a wood split from a nail. Filled that in. The finish I'm using is a bed coating, like it's just a roll-on bed liner with a little, what is it, like a 2-inch roller, some rolling pads. So like anything that's little, it'll fill in. I just wanted to make sure it's as good as possible. This is, as you can see, it's MDF and then a 1/4-inch sheet of birch ply. So this is birch. It's not a good sheet because it keeps delaminating itself, which kind of puts a dampener into what I wanted to do, which was I was just gonna stain it and put a water-based sealer on it after I stained it. But I think I need something stronger, like a oil-based or urethane-based, to really lock this material back together. I don't know if it was just an old sheet from the store or what, or maybe it's from being in my shop. My shop's not climate controlled. It's just it's just a shop. So maybe that's what it is. I'm not really sure, but so I think I'm just going to shellac this, which will just give it a nice finish. Hopefully not yellow. Hopefully, if it is, it is. What it is. But I wanted to put, originally I was going to put some ebony on it, which will darken it, and then water base it, because I like a water based sealer better, to be honest. I use like that polyacrylic, but I use the roll-on. That's the spray version, and I'll usually use that if I'm using like a water based dye, like a water based stain. I'll put that on it and then come back and brush the second and third coat on it. That just locks it in, because using 2 water bases will smudge the design. So I'll use that to lock that design in and then go back over it with a brush with the next 2 coats. Like that's what I do to like those. Like that one's paint, but I do designs with like red or blue, like when I do the American flags and stuff, wood stain. And that stuff's water based. So yeah, that's what I do to those. And I know I could probably still stain it and then seal it with the shellac, but I'm not sure if that dark ebony is going to look good with the black, where I know, the light wood color will contrast well off the black, and then the speakers, of course, black, a little bit of blue there. Those are the passive radiators. So yep, that's what I'm going to do. And we're going to do this first because I will need to tape this off before bed lining it. Also because I want to back the shadowing parts in black, so I want this all black. Same here, I want this to be black, so I'll just hit this with some matte black spray paint. So whenever, you know, this is done in the bed liner, you don't see like the missed spots from the cuts not being a complete tight fit, which you don't want them to be anyway. I would really like to paint inside there black, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to because I had an oversight. So that's the panel in there you can see to get the amp out. You can see like the little sealer material, like black color in color, gray in color. You can see it up there too. I don't think this board is going to come out. Originally, the plan was you could just take a square bit, hit the 6 screws, pull this, twist it, and bring it out. The width here is not as much as this width, but I don't think you'd physically be able to twist it and pull it out. And I really don't want to fight it. So I'll just tape this off in here. I might put a plastic bag and dust it. We'll see what happens. I would really like in there to be black. So maybe I shove some like Walmart bags around the amp just so I can coat the area that you would see easily. Real quick, I just want to show you the difference from shellacked to not. See, it just brings out the grain better. Makes everything just a little bit darker, but didn't yellow it. Still looks good. Just a little update. As you can see, this is all taped off now. The wood, it's 3 coats, sanded between coats of the shellac, and then let it fully cure, taped it off. The ring here is painted black, that's painted black, so is the one on the other side. And then, because I don't know how well I'm going to be able to get the bed liner inside of that section is also painted black, but I'm going to work to get the bed liner in there. It's just if I couldn't get it in some of the corners, at least it'll be kind of hidden. But yep, so here's the bed liner. Make sure you mix this very well. I don't recommend shaking it, but stirring it with a stir stick is what I've done in the past, and it's what works best. So that's what we're gonna do now, is stir that up really, 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 really good. Make sure you do that. And then I'm gonna start rolling it on. They have rollers specially made for bed liner. They did not have any in town anywhere. I wish I would known. I would have ordered some, but I'm not waiting now. So I just picked up these basic polyester rollers, and I'll just roll it on. It won't be as textured as I want, and then right before, as it's curing, I'll re-roll over it, which will bring up a texture for me. It won't be, it won't be bad. It won't be bad. So let's do that. Oh, there it is. All coated. That piece is still not installed because I'm waiting on the handle to come in. That will like flush mount it in. They got the magnets, but not the handle. You see it's all bed line, and then the sealed wood finish in the middle. Pretty classy looking. Looks pretty good. And I'm gonna do a non-copyrighted song for you guys to listen to. There will be a video on the TikTok, Fish Studios or Jeremy Fish, whatever way it looks up. I'll link it below. But where you can hear actual music, I'm going to put a little clip on there as well. But for now, what we're going to play is this. Let's see here, non-copyrighted music, copyright free, by No Copyright Sounds. Step back a little because it gets loud pretty quickly.
You better watch out if your enemies are with the head of all not seen. To be the greatest speak, the word is ever seen. I feed him every day with the bones clean. I feed him all the heat and he drones me. He is a real weakness. Quit if you toss in my drop dead. Never fall for the course, settling the score. Never getting bored, just the blood and gold. I was wanting more freedom from the source. Can't release this in a turn to feel it for the body. If you stop shit, you be hard lit in the darkness. Quarterback quick, let's go. Reach to be chewed up and discarded. And this world ain't right, won't accept it. Negative energy, I expect it. Once it's in your mind, it's infectious. So fight for your life and reject it. You better give me space, I'm protected. My adrenaline spikes when I'm threatened. And if you stay
There you go. Moves pretty good. Sounds really clear, crisp. Got enough bass. I'd like more bass, but I think that's a bass head thing in me. But sounds good. Crisp, clean, looks good. Still running off of a Milwaukee M18 battery. So there it is, guys. Really appreciate you guys watching. If I've earned it, please subscribe and like the video. And if you have any questions, put them down in the comments. I would love to hear from you and help out and anybody that wants to build one. Thank you, guys.